Dawn with Supventurous. I wanted to share with you some of the things I do and how to prepare to paddle year-round in the Pacific Northwest, and not just in the summer. We have short summers, they're kind of getting longer right now, but still I want to be able to maximize my paddle time. And so there's certain gear that I wear and certain things I do in the winter so I'm safe and I could still have a good time. One of the most important things to know, even in the summer, is what's the weather, what's the wind going to be like, and the river currents. And if you haven't paddled in the river, I would suggest not paddling in the river for your first time in the winter. There's a lot of different conditions in a winter than there would be in the lake. You've got the current, you've got swirlies, and those swirlies could grab your fin and kind of turn your board, and if you're not expecting it or not used to it, it could toss you off your board, and you want to do everything you can not to fall in, especially during the winter. And also there's debris floating down the rivers, especially after a heavy rain, and so sometimes you're dodging logs in the river. So if it's your first time paddling in the winter, I do suggest paddling in a lake where it's a little bit more controlled. You must know your capabilities, so it is up to you to check the weather and the wind and know if you feel comfortable doing it. And if you don't feel comfortable, you shouldn't be going out, and just follow your gut on that. So I have a 120-degree rule. So if the water temp is 60 degrees and the air temp is 60 degrees, I may not wear a wetsuit because that's 120 degrees. However, if the water is 50 degrees and it's 60 degrees outside, I'm going to probably wear my Farmer Jane. I may not need booties yet, I may not need my gloves, but I'm at least gonna have my Farmer Jane on in case I do fall in the water. I want to be prepared and I want to be warm. Especially in the winter, I always paddle with a buddy. You want someone there with you in case something does go wrong. You have somebody there who can help you. And paddling in the winter, you want to make sure you have an inherently buoyant PFD on. So the difference between this and one of the belt PFDs, I love to wear the belt PFDs in the summer where you have to pull a release and it'll inflate your PFD. This, if you were to fall in, you're going to float no matter what. So this is going to keep you up and keep you safer than a belt PFD in the event you were to fall into the cold water. So next I'm going to show you clothing from head to toe pretty much. What I like to do, as I mentioned before, my preference is Lululemon. I like to have a non-cotton long sleeve under my Farmer Jane. I like Lululemon because I have long arms and legs, and my sleeves are long and the legs are long on me. I like to have if I were to get wet, these are designed under my Farmer Jane. The moisture one, it stops it from rubbing, and two, it dries a lot better than cotton does. It does add a layer. I'll wear these if it's really cold. I'll wear these under my Farmer Jane to just have one more extra layer of heat. What I prefer is the Farmer Jane, and for men it's called the Farmer John. Both the same thing, but basically, as you can see, it doesn't have arms. So this helps, I get the freedom of movement in my arms when I'm paddling, and so it really helps not feel so constricted as a full wetsuit does. In a full wetsuit, I get too hot. This allows you to have layers and remove layers, put them in your dry bag if you don't need them. When the weather gets a little bit colder, I wear my ExoSkin, and this I purchased from ProMotion in Hood River. And what I love about this is, one, it's stretchy, So you have freedom of movement when you're paddling. Too, they make a great wind barrier. So this blocks the wind. If you were to fall in, it's still going to, you're still going to be wet, but it's going to keep that cold wind away from your body after you fall in, and it's going to keep the heat trapped inside. So I love my ExoSkin. You could also get ExoSkin pants, and that will help block the wind from your legs as well. What I also wear in the winter, right now, I'm just going to show you, if it's not too cold, you could just wear some neoprene gloves, or biker gloves are good, that are wind resistant. That way, if your hands get wet, just having that wind go through any neoprene could be cold. So if you get any wind resistant neoprene, it's ideal. But when you've got your paddle in the water, there's a lot of cold that's transferred from your paddle shaft to your hands, and your fingers just get icy cold, and it makes it just miserable for paddling. Another thing you could do is put on a pair of latex gloves underneath your gloves, and that will give you a vapor barrier and keep your hands even warmer. So I hate having cold feet, so I like to wear booties. These are a 5mm Excel bootie, and these booties I get a Gorge Performance, and what's nice about them is there's a zipper, so they're easy on, easy off. When your feet are wet, taking off booties can sometimes be a pain. So these are much easier to get off, and as you can see, they have a nice neoprene layer inside, and they keep your feet warm. You just have to get used to moving around on your board with the extra grip from the booties. So that's the only drawback of wearing booties, is you do have a little bit different feel of your board with the booties. But if it gets colder, these are a 5mm, I will go to a 7mm bootie. Those are my Billabongs, and they just keep my feet even warmer, and my Billabongs have a fleece inside of them. You could wear a smart wool sock inside of your booties as well to help trap that heat. Hate having don't like to stop paddling just because the weather gets cold. And right now, you know, I'm standing on the ice, and half of the lake is ice right now. There's snow on the mountains behind me, but it's still a gorgeous day to paddle. So I say just get out there, go paddle, do it safely. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions about what you need to wear to keep yourself safe while paddling.